Well, gather around, folks, because Washington has birthed another legislative marvel. It's called the Big Beautiful Bill, and oh boy, is it ever big and, well, it's certainly a bill. They say it's going to fix everything, which is usually code for everything is about to get demonstrably worse for most of you. This bill, with its heartwarming title, is a Trojan horse, and spoiler alert, inside are not Greek soldiers, but a whole lot of ways to make life harder for anyone not currently sunbathing on a yacht. It's truly a masterpiece of saying one thing and doing the exact disastrous opposite. First up in this parade of progress are the enhancements to SNAP, our nation's food assistance program, because apparently the problem with hungry people is that they're just not working hard enough. The bill imposes much stricter work requirements. Can't find a job? Tough. Disabled? Figure it out. States will now also have to chip in more for SNAP, especially if they make too many errors, like, accidentally feeding someone who doesn't meet the new impossibly high bar. It's a bold strategy. Make it harder to get food, and voila, hunger solved. Or more likely, hunger hidden. And what food will our newly motivated citizens be allowed to buy? The bill cleverly blocks future increases to SNAP benefits, even with inflation soaring, so that $1.50 you get for a meal today, it'll be worth even less tomorrow. Fantastic! Plus, it kindly steers people towards an exciting array of frozen and processed foods. Fresh fruits and vegetables? That's luxury, darling. This isn't about nutrition. It's about creatively managing statistics. If you can't afford fresh food, you won't buy it. Problem solved. It's the kind of compassionate conservatism that really warms the cockles of, well, someone's heart, presumably. But wait, there's more generosity. The bill also takes a hefty swing at Medicaid, slicing nearly $800 billion from its budget. And yes, you guessed it, more work requirements. This time for able-bodied adults aged 19 to 64. The Congressional Budget Office, those lovable scamps with their calculators, estimate that close to 10 million people could lose their health insurance because of this. 10 million! It's a stunning commitment to public health, isn't it? Almost as stunning as realizing that able-bodied is a term often used to deny care to people who desperately need it. This bill isn't just beautiful, it's breathtakingly cruel. Now let's talk about how this big, beautiful bill plans to fortify our democracy. Because nothing says strong democracy like systematically dismantling its core components. First on the chopping block, judicial oversight. The bill cleverly includes provisions that limit the ability of courts to enforce certain federal regulations. Why let pesky judges and their interpretations of the law get in the way of progress? It's so much more efficient when the government can just do things, checks and balances, more like checks please, and will balance the budget on the backs of the vulnerable. Then there's the thrilling new world of at-will federal employment. That's right, federal workers can now be fired without cause. Imagine the morale boost. This will undoubtedly lead to a more stable, impartial, and highly professional civil service. Or, and hear me out, it could lead to a massively politicized workforce where loyalty trumps competence and vital public services are staffed by people terrified of sneezing wrong. Many federal workers are from minority and low-income backgrounds, so this is just another fantastic way to ensure job security for, well, not them. It's innovative. And speaking of innovation, let's not forget the deregulation of artificial intelligence in our elections. AI, with its flawless record of unbiased decision-making, that was sarcasm by the way, will now have a freer reign in how our elections are run. What could possibly go wrong with powerful, unregulated AI influencing voter information, or even vote counting? It's not like it could be used for sophisticated disinformation campaigns or to subtly disenfranchise voters. No, this is about embracing the future. A future where your vote might be decided by an algorithm that also thinks cats secretly rule the world. To round out this democratic renewal, the bill also tinkers with the Affordable Care Act. It ends automatic re-enrollment and special enrollment periods. This seemingly small tweak could result in an additional 3 million people becoming uninsured. 3 million. It's like they're aiming for a high score in a video game called Uninsure the Nation. The goal, apparently, is to make accessing healthcare so complicated and precarious that people just give up. And when they do, the system will be declared a success because fewer people are using it. Genius. Pure, unadulterated, cynical genius. Let's pivot to how the Big Beautiful Bill plans to keep us safe and sound. It generously grants the Treasury Department expanded powers to combat terrorism financing, which sounds great, right? We all want to stop terrorism, but these new powers are so broad, they could potentially allow the Treasury to target almost any financial transaction anywhere. It's like giving a toddler a bazooka to deal with a fly. Sure, you might get the fly, but there's going to be a lot of collateral damage. And who decides what's suspicious? That's the million-dollar, or rather billion-dollar question. Critics, those perennial party poopers, have raised concerns that these sweeping powers could be, shall we say, misused, perhaps for political purposes, or to target specific groups or individuals without sufficient oversight. Perish the thought. The idea that a government might abuse vaguely defined powers to snoop on its citizens or harass its opponents is, of course, completely unprecedented in human history. This is purely about security, your security, which might involve you explaining why you bought that suspiciously large quantity of artisanal cheese last week. It's all connected, you see. Now, for a real masterstroke of legislative priority, the bill repeals taxes on tanning beds. Yes, you heard that right. That burdensome tax on achieving that perfect leathery, I might get melanoma glow. Gone! This vital relief for a niche market, primarily benefiting a small, affluent segment of the population, is clearly a top concern. Meanwhile, funding for actual public health programs, the ones that prevent disease, promote wellness, and serve millions, especially low-income communities, is being cut. It's a bold statement. Your suntan is more important than your neighbor's access to a clinic. This isn't just a quirky line item, it's a philosophy. It's a worldview where the superficial desires of a few outweigh the fundamental needs of the many. Public health programs are crucial. They are the bedrock of a healthy society, but apparently ensuring everyone can afford to look like a freshly baked croissant is a more pressing national emergency. The juxtaposition is almost poetic in its absurdity. It's like defunding the fire department to subsidize marshmallow toasters. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is actively harmful. And now for the grand finale of this big, beautiful bill, the tax cuts. Because nothing says fiscal responsibility like showering the wealthiest with even more financial goodies. The deduction for pass-through business income, a favorite loophole for the rich, is not only made permanent, but also increased to 23%. That's over $700 billion over the next decade, flowing upwards. Trump's 2017 tax cuts, extended and expanded, including a higher cap on the state and local tax, SALT, deduction, which predominantly benefits high-income individuals in high-tax states. It's a veritable feast for the affluent. But what about everyone else, you ask? Oh, don't you worry your little non-millionaire head. While the wealthy are popping champagne, deductions for middle and lower-income families are being thoughtfully tightened. Those health insurance premium tax credits that help ordinary people afford coverage, they're being reduced by about 20%. There are some token tax cuts for tips and overtime pay, which is lovely, but it's like getting a pat on the head while someone else walks away with your entire pension. The scales aren't just tipped. They've been thrown out the window and replaced with a seesaw where one side is permanently weighted down with gold bars. Of course, all this generosity towards the top tier comes at a price. A big, beautiful price. This bill is projected to add at least $4 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. $4 trillion. That's a number so large it's practically abstract, but the consequences aren't abstract. Higher interest rates will mean your mortgage, your car loan, your credit card debt, all more expensive. Reduced federal investment in crucial areas like education and infrastructure will weaken the economy and lower everyone's standard of living. Oh, and get ready for higher electricity prices as green energy subsidies are slashed. Fantastic. So there you have it. The big beautiful bill, a legislative triumph that expertly expands SNAP work requirements while freezing benefits, limits judicial oversight while making federal jobs precarious, deregulates AI in elections, gives the Treasury scary new powers, prioritizes tanning beds over public health, and lavishes tax cuts on the rich while piling debt onto the nation. It's a stunning achievement in undermining democracy, fairness, and public welfare, all wrapped up with a misleadingly cheerful bow. It's not just a bill, it's a declaration that some people matter a whole lot more than others. Bravo!